be showing.
Okay, yeah, you just went live.
All right, that's good to see. Hey,
And
look at
I
that.
got a little notification pop up.
Because you follow me.
Yeah, yeah.
If
But
you,
it's funny because I'm already looking at your channel and it still popped up and said, "Hey, you went live," and it has a little button to watch.
okay. So I don't have any other windows. I just have this new tab. Then, and it just says stream starting soon.
It does.
All right.
Looks beautiful.
Okay. Then here's the test for you. You can let me know when it happens. If I hit this super hotkey, then it should start showing my screen. I don't know how long of a delay that is.
There it is. There it is.
Cool. It worked.
Yep.
All right. So, what are we working on today, Adam?
Well, first we need to get it just building.
Yeah.
Because we're getting an error when you try to start it up.
Yeah.
And
So
actually, I think this is kind of one of the problems with Gatsby is if there's an error when you first start trying to run it, it just won't run. Whereas if you get it to run, and actually, is it running?
it looks like it's sitting there waiting.
It is. Okay. So we need to go and fix this, and I'll show you what I was doing here and why there's a try block there. I thought I had a catch. I don't know what happened.
All right. So contact.js 54.
Yeah. Source pages contact.
All right. Contact. And 54.
Okay.
Right.
So what I would do is just comment out line 52 through 57.
Okay.
And let's just get it working. And you want to look for where the variable show is used.
Okay. Equal to show.
Actually, it's probably fine to leave that line. What I was trying to do is when you go to the contact page, if there's a show variable in the get parameter, then it would automatically select that show in the form.
I see.
And it works, except so it works when you run Gatsby serve, but it doesn't work when you run Gatsby build.
That's interesting.
I think when it's doing Gatsby build, it's just running a node, and you don't have access to URL.
Ah, I see. So all you want to do is read the search params.
Yeah.
Does Gatsby run? I guess we what does Gatsby build with? Does it put it through like Webpack or anything like that, or not? So much?
Yeah, it does. And actually, I think to get the error I was seeing may actually work if I upgrade to Webpack. If I upgrade to Gatsby 2, because it's on a newer version of Webpack.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we get out a shot, but I just saved, and now I have it compiled successfully. So
okay,
how can I go see this?
Go to localhost 8000.
Localhost 8000. It looks like the Orbit FM site.
Cool, and go ahead and open up a new tab that's localhost 8000 / underscore. Oh wait, it's not GraphQL, it's graphical.
Cool.
And it's graph IQL.
IQL. Oh, graphical.
And then you have to put 2 underscores on the end.
I see. So it's.
And we could also work on the 404 page at some point. Oh man, is that not it? If you restart in the terminal, it'll tell you the URL.
Okay. And that's what I'll do. I'm not seeing that.
There it is.
Just GraphQL. 3 underscores.
3
That
underscores.
is,
That's what it
you
is.
cannot mess that up.
It's like they really don't want you to go there.
Okay, so we got our GraphQL, but it is called GraphIQL. So
Yeah. Graphical.
mm-hmm.
And we probably won't need this, but have you seen this before?
I have seen it once in a presentation before. But that's about the extent of it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should play around with it a little bit. It's pretty cool. So if you do an opening curly brace and then start typing like all, and then you can tab to complete.
It's all.
And then if you hit Control Enter, so when Control Enter runs it, but it'll also fill in kind of your basic stuff down there.
Okay.
And so after ID, you can hit Enter and then do Control Space for an autocomplete menu.
No, not Command Space, Control Space. That'll take a minute.
Control Space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can select any of those things and
So if I want to get my image.
Yeah, and hit Control Enter.
Okay.
And it fills it in, and then you can go after ID and then do Control Space again.
All right. And if I wanted to say, get like the titles of all my images,
Yeah.
do that, and I execute it. I can see Talking Dudes logo, but it's BookBytes logo and Web of Tomorrow logo. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So yeah, that's how that works. And if you go to the code, you can see where those queries go in the code. If you go to, oh, you're on contact page.
Yep.
So go to the bottom of the page.
Wow.
So on any page, you're gonna export your default, but you can also export a variable called query. And query is a tag template literal that has your GraphQL query.
I see.
And then what that does is it gives you a prop called data into your default component.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's data, and then it'll be data dot all contentful podcast.
Which is the thing you asked for. .edges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple queries in there, so it could be data dot this or data dot that.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's named down. Right.
Well, I don't know. So you name it there because you can't have any duplicate queries in the site.
Okay.
Or you can't have any with the same name across the site.
Mm-hmm.
So I just generally name them after whatever page they're on.
That's fitting.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get parameters into these queries, but not in this case. It's usually like a generated page where you get parameters. So anyway, let's figure out what to work on. If you want to go to issues and pick out something,
all right.
I don't want to work on that one that was causing the error.
Okay. .com/orbit FM. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad this is public because I'm not signed into GitHub and don't want to work with that. Go away.
It wants you to join. Yeah, I added upgrade to Gatsby as an issue.
Okay.
I've got duplicate add sponsor page.
Okay.
Click on enhancement because those are the only ones we want to look at. Oh, I remember. The one that I think would be interesting is the person page. I'm not seeing it on here. Maybe if you scroll. Wait, scroll down. Oh, list podcasts and episodes on person page.
Okay.
That would be a good one.
All right, so on the person page, list all of the podcasts where there are hosts And below that, all the episodes where they have been a guest. All right, and so an example of a person page is right there.
Yeah.
So we can see you.
And right now it's not great.
All right, and then there's your website. It's tight contrast there, but
Yeah, it's not great. And that image is coming from Contentful, so if I want to update that image, I would just pick a different image on Contentful.
gotcha.
Also, it'd be good if we had a sticky footer.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and add some content. I mean, I can fumble around with CSS to make the thing sticky, but not for the first issue. Let's go ahead and instead start showing like what shows you're a host on.
Yeah.
All right. So here, I guess we have.
We're gonna get.
We're gonna wind up getting that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So in the code.
Probably won't.
Well, in the code, we've already got the query. We've already got most of the query in the code.
Ah, good
You
point.
go to source, and this is under templates instead of under pages.
Why is this
source.
under templates? Because it's generated.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at the Gatsby node file, it says, "Hey, do a query for all people, and then generate a page using this template."
All content person edges. I see.
Yeah. So it's saying create page using this component, which is source templates person.js.
I see. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, and then the context there says pass in this ID to that page. So on line 47,
That's
You
the
get-
IDs.
you get the ID coming into the query.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, here's a cool thing. You should go ahead and copy this entire query into graphical.
Including this 47, even though.
Yeah.
Okay. If I do that, I go to graphical. Paste it.
And then control enter. And it won't work. It won't work. And this took me a long time to figure out. But see at the bottom, it says query variables.
Oh, that is not obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
In there, you put some JSON with an ID, and if you put in the correct ID, it will work, and it's not going to be my name. So to get my name, you can do a query in there. Just query for all contentful person.
Okay. So can I do? Or will it break? Like, do I have to?
Yeah, you'll have to delete or comment out everything else that's in there right now.
All right. Then let's see. Does this work? It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Contentful person. And what is it? Control enter. Get all that stuff. And don't need an ID. Now if I run that, oh, do I have it hanging? Okay.
Okay, yeah. So you can just put name in there, so you can figure out which one's me or you or whatever.
Look at all these people. All right. Wow, there's a lot of people.
Well, they're host and guests.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's people. So
Yeah.
this ID.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now if I undo a few times, get rid of that, and then here I say ID is this deal.
Yep.
And give it that JSON, and then I were to go and run it. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to figure out podcasts.
Okay.
So anywhere in there. Yeah.
Podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead and just do Control Enter after podcast, and it'll fill in.
Oh, I gotta do it not at the brackets, I guess. Just like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
that gives me IDs, and then for each one, name.
And then like
is there a slug one or something?
Yeah, so it's actually fields, and then do Control Enter. Instead of fields, there's a slug. Yeah.
Oh. Why opt to put slug instead of fields and not name?
That has to do with Gatsby. I think it's in the Gatsby node file or Gatsby config file. Whenever you dynamically add information to it, it goes inside of fields.
Okay.
So slug is not something that comes from contentful. I dynamically take the name and generate a slug.
I see. Makes sense. So
yeah, and then maybe the other thing we need is an image.
That would make sense. So is that? I guess that says image. So would it be image? Yeah. And right there. And we got an image ID.
Yeah.
And probably would it be like this? It's a file.
Oh yeah, it's exactly like that.
Then I will go ahead and steal that.
Although really the only thing we need is the URL.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Is that missing a bracket?
It could be. Yeah. Pretty bad.
Okay. Is there anything else inside of slugs? I don't remember. Anything else inside of fields? Nope.
Okay. So it's just a slug.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I think we can work with that. This will be all the podcasts that they're actually a host on. If we want the episodes they appear in, then it would, instead of podcasts or next to podcasts, it would be episodes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do podcasts first. Do one step at a time.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, good. I cleared the rest of it out. So copy that. Move over to iTerm. Be inside that. Can I do that? No, it doesn't do it. Okay. Then paste it.
And if you're running Prettier,
I am. I just ran it over it.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually want to double check this because I know that it's supposed to go and figure out GraphQL stuff.
It does. Yeah.
Way to go, Prettier.
I think I have a Prettier RC in this project. I'm not sure. Anyway.
Okay, so we now have a podcast.
Yeah, we have a podcast, which is actually an array.
Mm-hmm. How does that work? Is that just like your choice up front that you made when doing Contentful?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I do see that there are links.
Yeah, I think it was just I named it podcast for some reason.
That works.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we have that on our page, we got our person links, and that is just this thing right here.
Yep. So that, that could be a link to their Twitter or GitHub or website or whatever.
All right. Let's go ahead and get some more stuff on here then.
Yeah.
So, do we have to do the null check
I think so, because we have to do something, because a person might have 0 links, and also a lot of people might not have any podcasts because they might just be a guest.
Yeah, but 0 won't make a difference there anyways.
It doesn't return you an array though.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It'll actually be undefined instead of an empty array.
Huh, okay. Then I will do this, just so we can see them for the moment. We may go and break this out to another component or something.
Yeah.
Person.podcast, a map. And then I guess I'll just render something. And close that thing. Give ourselves some divs with podcast.name. Should see that reflected. Will it refresh for me?
Yeah, it does auto refresh. It's supposed to. Hey, I do see the red line on the live stream now.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I need to figure out something that's not Skype and works. Like, all right.
Yeah. Nothing?
Oh, because I'm looking at Orbit FM.
So
if yeah. So if I were to go like here though, then you should. Where are you at?
Where am I at?
Yeah, aren't you supposed to be a host?
Yeah.
Well, you weren't on that episode.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm talking dudes. You should be on there.
Click on you then.
I guess that works. Look at that. Book bites. Boom. That is me.
Yep.
And when I'm not on the computer, I'm often doing ham radio.
I forgot that I could view your screen in Skype, and I was watching on Twitch and wondering why it was lagging behind so much.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's not a black screen.
Yeah. It helps if people can see the code.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that descriptive of the code that I'm working on.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a list of like podcast names. Do you have any places that you look to for inspiration, or you just like wing it?
To be honest, I totally ripped this site off of another site. So, you want me to spill the beans?
Well, you said it live that you've already ripped it off, but
yeah. Okay. Even the name sounds like I ripped it off. Go to relay.fm.
Relay.fm. Right, let's take a look and see what they do. Oh yeah, I do see where you're coming from with it. So if I go and look at this, yeah, it's all right. All right, so host, Brianna Wu. All right, broadcast, best appearances. That's kind of a cool way of doing it, like including like the description of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't put a description in our query.
Yeah, so maybe you wanna do that, but I kind of take that broadcast. Oh.
Broadcast. Probably would call it podcast. Yeah.
All right. Well, each one of our podcasts happens to have a name, and then we will go ahead and do that. Let's
yeah, I would put the image and a description, and I kind of like how they have how many episodes are in each one. That's cool.
Yeah.
You definitely want to link to it, obviously.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll want some of those things. So let's go back and do that in our graphical. And in our podcast, we've got our name, we've got our image. I guess we've got our slug.
Yeah, so we need description. Yeah, slug is all we need for the link.
Okay. So we've got description.
Do the control enter thing.
Oh, okay.
It is weird and what inside a description you have to do description. I don't know why, but when you have text like that, like it doesn't do it for name because that's short text, but in contentful description is long text, I think. Anyway, it does this double nested thing, but apparently that's pretty common with GraphQL.
Here's another question for you. Can you do a count in GraphQL, or do you have to?
Okay, so what you want to do is go over to docs in the top right corner, and sometimes you can figure this kind of thing out. So look for, what is it? What are we looking at? We're looking at contentful person. Yeah, you want to search for contentful person. Yeah. Click on that. And
from there we want podcast. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got episode.
Yeah.
And that's an array of those things.
Okay. I think you can do it with GraphQL, but this is essentially a Gatsby content plugin. We can only do whatever. I think we can only do what they provide us with.
Yep. This is nothing provided on its own. So Stack Overflow has spoken.
But it's not going to be a performance issue because Gatsby, it'll just take a little bit longer to build, and the site will be just as fast.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about this server side.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, we'll go to the graphical episode, and we do that. And all we care about is the ID, because I think we have to get something, don't we?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If we just get ID and then just reduce or get the length of it.
Yep. And then that looks pretty good to me. So I'll copy all that.
Yep.
And go over and paste that there.
The other thing is we don't need, under description, we don't need that ID.
Oh. And it has been pulled.
Cool.
So looking here, still got that. And so for each one of our podcasts, we'll have a name. This is, I don't know. Never know what to do for like what is semantically correct.
Yeah.
Is it like
I know.
Section? Or it'd be like article, right? I don't know.
Section might be right. Article would be for the entire main section, anything that's not in a sidebar or a header or footer.
Yeah.
But like the entire thing, and this is only like a little section.
Yeah.
But I haven't been doing too much of the site semantically.
All right. Well. Yeah. Jen will not approve.
I know. I was talking to her about accessibility, and I did a quick what's it called? You can, in Chrome DevTools, you can find out how accessible the site is really quick with an audit, and it was not great.
Maybe like that then.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we got. Look at that. Book for developers.
Wow, your audio quality just changed drastically for
Did
the
it?
worse. Oh, it's better.
Okay. Maybe OBS was like hoarding all of my bandwidth and CPU.
Yeah.
At the same time. All right.
Actually, the description might want to put that in a paragraph.
get ourselves some spacing below. All right.
All right. Image maybe.
Image, yeah. All right. Podcast. I don't know if we actually want to do it that way. Equal to podcast.image.url. Right?
You can look right above you on line 36.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll be image.file.url.
File.url. Okay. And then let's say something like podcast.name logo.
Yeah.
And what if we do that? What do we got?
So
Boom! Look at that, book bites.
huge, right? So this actually brings up a good point, which is I know there's a way to optimize images with Gatsby, and I just haven't done it yet.
To have it like give you a different URL, like a thumbnail URL or something.
Yeah, it's like a whole responsive images thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can even do really, really cool things where while it's loading as a placeholder that's blurry. Because right now, one of the issues on there is there's a flicker.
Yeah.
There's a flicker when you first load the page, and it's like there's no CSS, and the images are huge, so everything. I didn't see it on the stream, but
yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah. Did you see it just now?
Well, I think if I do like that, empty cache and hard reload, yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it that time too. Yeah, this might be. I don't know what you think, but we might be able to research that a little bit. But
yeah, I don't know if I want to solve that right now.
Yeah, not the flicker, but maybe the images. I don't know.
Let's make it look good.
Yeah.
And then we'll make it scale a little bit better. Maybe we have like a podcast image component, or even something like that.
You might want to take a look real quick at the shows page, and that may give you an idea how I resized it on that page. There may be an emotion component that I'm using to style it.
I don't know what's up with my iTerm, but it is hanging, which, I mean, that's weird.
Huh.
There's my J's and K's. All right. So, all right. So the shows page.
Yeah.
All right. So image.
Yeah, there's an image container.
All right. Max width 150 pixels. And then we go. Let's copy and paste that thing. Circle image.
Yeah, because we may want it a different size.
All right. Image container has a style.div. Do you want to force it inside of a container? I don't know. We'll try.
I don't know why I did a div. It seems like I could have done that on the image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's not even an image container.
It's just an image.
Yeah. I'll be more specific, I guess. Because it is the podcast. We might have something else, right?
We do. We've got the
circle
host.
Image. Yeah, we have circle image. So
yeah.
Calling it image would be a little generic. So right here, instead, if we do cast image, right?
Yeah.
And then what do we got going on? There's our flicker. What's going on? But I think we're good.
There it is.
Okay. That looks like an image.
It is forcing everything to a new line.
Yeah, which is
and it's also to the it's floating around. It's floating around the circle image.
Oh yeah.
The circle image is floated left.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, the circle image is floated left because that's the only way to make text flow around an image.
Yeah.
And it's, if you had more text there, you would see that the text is going perfectly around like a circle shape.
Yeah, I see that. That's curving. Is that what you, I mean, I guess you were going for that, having it curve
I was
around?
going, yeah, I was going for that. There's just not enough text to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, it just, computer looks oddly indented. Like that. I mean, I know.
Yeah, or Jason looks oddly close.
Yeah, one of the two. All right. Well, we don't necessarily want it in the same position as that.
I would probably just make the circle image not floated left, and that would help.
All right. Then I can go back and screw with our upper styles then. Circle image, float.
And then you could get rid of the shape outside.
Okay, so we've got that. And are we doing like any flexing or anything like that in this? You use Flexbox?
It's used on the site, but not on this page, or not in this component necessarily.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
we could go and just like flex that, make this thing grow.
Yeah. And probably the easiest way to do that though is just make the circle image display inline.
Wouldn't this do that anyways though? The problem is that our div is not inline.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it should just be a paragraph then. Wait, a paragraph is also block.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we could do some Flexbox.
All right. So let's go ahead and do it. And then what we can wind up having is like our links. Do you want links below images, or do you want them?
I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll toy with it then. So
Yeah.
let's see, counts, and we'll make ourselves a, I don't know. I don't want to use header. Person details. Yes. Styled.div.
Hey, guess what?
What's that?
I left my power cord at work, and my computer's not going to last much longer.
Okay. How much longer is not much longer? Like what percent?
Well, it's at 9%, and of course, Macs don't tell you how long that will last.
Okay. Then I don't know what. You've got Discord on your phone.
Yeah,
I guess the problem is
I can get on the chat and help you out.
Yeah, you can get on chat and help me out. You can push further through it.
Yeah.
All right. I have a general idea of what I'm working on, so
yeah,
that also works. Then yeah, we can do that. But for here, person details. If I say display flex. And then around.
I should go into Contentful and add some links for you.
Some links for me?
Yeah. I should link to your Twitter.
Yeah, you can link to my Twitter. You can link to my Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, doing that. All right, so person details. Let's do this. You don't really need to format this because Prettier will do it, but put it in that. Display it as flex. then look at that. They're side by
So
side.
the way that Contentful and Gatsby work is if you change the content on Contentful, it won't pull in the new data until you restart Gatsby.
Okay.
See. Let's see. You have a website, right?
Yeah, it is pretty up to date.
It's pretty so not very.
I got some blog posts I wrote and I really, I don't know. Maybe this is the year. 2018 is the year that I write another blog post. It'll happen. I guess that's the nice perk of streaming, is at least I don't have to go back and edit it. It's out there for the world to see, or the single person that showed up to look at what I was doing once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got a couple of links now. You got a Twitter and a website. I didn't add Twitch because I don't have a logo on Contentful for Twitch right now.
Yeah. And let's see. So close that. Yeah. And my person details, that is doing that, and I'm figuring that this right here happens to not be like, it happens to be trying to fit both just because this is long enough. But if I inspect this thing and change up my paragraph to be which it's already a P. Okay. So if I were to go and make this like that, it's not flexing to fill the whole thing. Which, I mean, I expect it not to, but maybe it just because the image has a max width, that would okay. Or
so I got a Twitch notification on my phone that said Ayano is playing programming.
Yes. That's how I do it. I play programming.
Is that what you do at work?
Yeah. At work, I just go to meetings all day. So.
You play meetings.
Yes, I play the meeting game, and then I come home and write Rust and stuff.
All right. So display flex. Okay.
Yeah. So I got person details. I'm displaying it flex, and then I would say that I also have a description, which happens to be flex 1, so that way the thing will grow just for sure. And so description, I called it person details again, but I was like, why is that not completing? So if I give that a description and I say that thing is flex 1, then that thing will fill all the time. So I open that thing up, and yeah, so it is stretching. So even if I have just a little bit in there, the thing should fill. Okay, so I'm doing that. That looks good. At least
nice.
Good enough.
Yeah.
So,
and then yeah, I probably want to do the same thing with the shows, and above the shows say podcasts.
Right. Yeah. So in that case, I really wish I was better with the semantic HTML, because then I would put like shows in a section, but I feel like a section inside of a section. Yeah, that actually seems like an okay place for a section.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So with that, I'm gonna say if that person has podcasts, and you said that it would be non-existent if we didn't have any podcasts.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna go and for now since I'm inside of React. I'll say podcast, and I'm gonna make myself a new component.
Nice.
Podcast. I know. All right. So I got podcast, and inside of there, return myself a section div. Alright, so I got a section here. Podcast. So I got a header, and then the rest of it I want to go and do this deal. Something like that anyways.
Yeah.
And would you, like, are you opposed to me like making that thing plural? So, like, this component will take it with the same name.
Oh wait, say that again.
So if I say here, if person has a podcast, then we say podcast. And we say podcasts, plural is person. Yeah. Is that weird?
No, that's good.
Okay.
That's good. I mean, it's just unfortunate that I named it podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So we do that. We have that. And then, so if that person has a podcast, we do it. And we go up to here. We have prettier format it so it doesn't look so terrible. Boom. Podcast with book bites. It's showing up.
Yep.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. I have a... Let's see. Hey, it says 2 viewers. Oh, man. I have...
Yeah, me and someone else.
Yeah. Well,
oh, it's me and you.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I just flashed my whole viewer list. All 2 of you. But, sweet. So, I guess now that we got podcast showing up for that person, we got book bites showing up there. First, given that this title is bigger than our actual image, that seems kind of wrong. I mean, given a little bit of information architecture, like book bites should probably not be so big.
Yeah.
So, because the highlight is the person here. So we have this max width of 150 pixels. Let's do it and do like 64 pixels or something. We'll make it much smaller. We put it down to size. I think that's okay because I mean, we want to show off what they're doing, but we want to also show the person. And then for each one of these podcasts, let's go ahead and make it into a nice little list item thing.
Yeah, so, with a link.
Yep. So I'm even going to go and I'm going to step it up a notch. And if I say that I have a podcast that takes in a single one, I don't know about you, but like I'm kind of a fan of going and like when I'm mapping over something, putting that into a separate component. Just because then it has a nice name and the map looks good, where it's just like map of map of podcast. Uh-oh. Enough. Okay. So I've got podcast showing up there, and in my podcast I still have this podcast image. And that should continue to work. It's not break here. Yeah, looks good. And so if I have this podcast wrapper, you end up with a lot of like extra components using style component. I mean, I guess I could kind of way to condense it. But style.div, and for each one of those, they will have a display of flex and so podcast container. So Let's rename this thing to podcast container. Like so. Sweet. That looks good. I think I may have lost you, Adam. Yeah, that's excellent looking. So podcast container is that. Podcast image has a width of 100%. What if I get rid of that? What is going on? Display flex, and if this thing is alright, so my podcast section, this one has a display of flex. My image has a margin, no, max width. And let's see, height of auto. Let's do that. So instead of working with max width, let's go ahead and set my height 64 pixels. Hey, I got a follower. I don't know who did that. But hey, I got a follower. Thanks. That flex box though. Okay. So we set that to width of auto. And a height of 64. Like so. What do we wind up with? Hey, it looks like this. This is progress, right? And for our podcast header, let's go ahead and let's make it look a little bit larger to make it more obvious. So for this header, we can say let's do a const podcast header is styled dot header, and for that we're gonna say that it has a font size of, did Adam do all these things by ems or not? Let's go ahead and see. And margin bottom, font size 2 ems. All right, then let's work from there. So let's say 1.5 ems, and then we can say swap that out for a podcast header. Look at that, podcast is bigger. That's amazing. And we should probably add some line height around that or something. That was 1.2. Give me that. Made no difference. Alright. That is 16 pixels. What's going on here? That didn't refresh. Did I not save it? Yeah. There we go. All right, so we got podcasts with a little bit of space in between. And so I got Book Bites and Book Club for developers. All right, Book Bites is kind of smashed next to that. So that's one thing we should probably do is our Book Bites, or our podcast name and our description should probably go together. So we will make ourselves a podcast details. Probably glittering details all over way too much. But I don't usually work with styled components. Podcast details. Styled it's just a div for the moment. And it is flex of 1, so it takes up all the space that it can. And cause title is styled matter, sure. And it has a font size of 1.1 ems. And this would be our podcast header. And we got our description already, podcast details. What are we looking like? An awesomely broken page. Podcast header is not defined because it should be podcast title. That's why. But now, Gatsby should show me what I'm looking for. If I refresh, there we go. Podcast, Book Bites, Book Club for developers. Every 2 weeks we discuss part of a book we've been reading. And also we chat with authors about their books. Alright. So with that, we got a podcast. We got some spacing around the thing already, which is looking pretty good. Right, at least looking. And I kind of liked that episode count next to it. So what if I were to go and put episode count like that, and then I went and podcast.episode length, something like that. And then for my const of podcast episode count is a styled head, or I guess span, because it needs to be in line. And here, if I make that, I happen to have a size of, I don't know, something a little bit smaller than its container. So 75 sounds good. Just taking a stab out there. And if I give it a color of RGBA 255, 255, 255, and 0.6 or something, that will make it podcast episode count. Do I need to do that? No. Okay, so if I do that, I refresh this thing, and I should have an episode count of 10. Look at that. And episodes. I don't know what Adam is using for pluralizing, so. And 10 episodes. What if we were to go and say text transform uppercase and 10 episodes. Letter spacing is like 10 episodes. Like that. I think the theme might be Nova. As for for the theme that I'm looking at, it's not Nova. Let me see. Color scheme. Base 6480s is the theme that I'm using. And as for the font, I will have to go and dig into my settings, but I don't know. Hang on, give me one sec. If I do this thing, that should have done what I expected it to do, which give you like a lock. Yep, that's what OBS is showing me. So if I go and go to my preferences on iTerm and see what this thing actually is, I just don't know what I have to show. Okay, preferences. All right, so profiles. My text happens to be it's Roboto Mono, so the Android font is my text or my font. So switching back, everything should be showing. I'm liking these OBS hotkeys. And so now we've got 10 episodes. It's spaced out a little bit. Let's go ahead and we're going to add a little bit of padding to the left side of it of like 8 pixels, so it's not quite so close to that. There we go. Book Bites, 10 episodes. Book Club for developers. I might even bring that down just a little bit smaller. So like 0.7 M's or something. There we go. A little bit smaller. Bump. So we got podcast, Book Club for developers showing up there. Let's go ahead and look at what somebody else looks like. Does this work? People. Adam, we gotta make that. So if I go back to Orbit FM, I go to this Talking Dudes episode, and then finally if I go and pull up Adam, then we have some podcast showing. Look at that. That's it's looking a little bit more like what I would expect to see here. So that's good. I like it. We got a little bit of spacing between each one. We got Talking Dudes. I don't know. It doesn't seem like we have any sort of order around these things, so we might want to do that. Because, I mean, why is Talking Dudes first? Why not Book Bites? Maybe I have a bias. If I, no, I don't have a pluralizer. Okay. Maybe we'll have to bring in like React format or React Inl or something. And even though it's like we would just probably use it for the formatting part, like it would lay the groundwork for being able to go and do other languages if we were so insistent on it. But it has like pluralization and number formatting built into it. And if you do date formatting with it, it works fine, and it doesn't incur bringing in moment and all of that too. So we've got our podcast. Let's see. If we go and just take that list. No, I'm not going to sort right now. I am going to make the links work. I'll focus on that. Both having the picture and the title work. I am actually curious if there's a way to ask GraphQL to sort. Adam, is there a way to make GraphQL sort? I will come back and check on that in a moment. We have our podcast title with our podcast name, and inside of here, if I make this thing happen to be a href to the podcast.slug, and I don't know what's on this. I think it's just the generated slug. Let's see what's in this GraphQL. Podcast. Slug is Talking Dudes. So what does a podcast URL look like? If I go to Orbit FM and this one, Talking Dudes. not season 3.4, just talking dudes. Okay. So, in that case, I will say that this URL needs to be root/that. And so add an anchor tag like so. And then what do we got here? I go back to Adam's. That one should be linked. Okay. Adam Garrett Harris. Talking dudes. Undefined. Sweet. Use link instead of an A tag. Okay. And in that case, then let's learn about link. Do we have any links in here? Gatsby link. We have it imported. Let's actually find usages of that thing. Link props.to to about. Okay. Then if that's what links look like, then that's what I'll use. Link with to, and then I can probably do something like that, so it's not an anchor tag. How does that look? Refresh. I'm still undefined. Probably because I'm looking at the wrong part of the podcast or something. Like GraphQL. Fields.slug. That's why. Because it is a generated field that we create inside of Gatsby. So now, those talking dudes, hey, look at that. Feeling good. We got that, we got book bites. And let's do the same thing for these podcast images, where we have a link to our podcast fields slug. So we can click on that thing. Also works. Excellent. Thanks for the heads up on the link, Adam. Alright, so we got that hooked up. We got book bites showing with 10 episodes next to it. And let's see. I guess that's okay with NPM Flush. Then the other thing that we can show, I guess, is the episodes. Maybe I'll try and do that. And I don't know, like do appearances or something. That would be kind of a decent thing to refer to it as. And I also don't really like how these links are showing up here. I don't quite know where I want to put them, but it just feels a little bit strange to have like this huge amount of space over here. So I'll have to figure out something on that front too. But that's why I can make a pull request and put this on a branch, and then Adam can finish it. But for now, yeah, let's go ahead and make a branch. Check out a branch, and we will call it I don't know, people appearances. And I will go ahead and add my source stuff, because I'm not going to encroach on package lock, because npm get the package lock. npm wants to change everything for some reason. Okay, and git commit. People have shows or podcasts. Maybe shows would be a good word for it. We'll have to talk about that. And then also, if I go here, and I happen to have this person, and when you're bringing in components, okay, so use components page there. That also might be something I'll do too, is move podcast out to this components. So if I go ahead and add a podcast like that, make a directory, index.js. Okay, he actually puts stuff in his index. So if I go to podcast index, and inside of there, I take podcast, and podcast container, all of these things, if I put them into here, and then I was to go and export the default of that thing. Or, I guess I can't quite do that. Yeah. Export default podcast. And I do that instead of just exporting this function directly, and then that should have it generated with a name that is nice to read, like, because it this function will assume the name of the variable that it was assigned to. Now, if I go here and I save it, first it should wind up giving me an error saying, I don't know what you're talking about, what is podcast? And so the way I can access that is by here, instead of importing page, I'll import, or along with importing page, my podcast. So I break it down like that, I refresh, and I should not be broken. What's happened in page? What if I refresh? Uh-oh. Is just this page broken, or is every page broken? Every page is broken. I don't like that. Did it not like me doing that? I'm gonna go ahead and run that thing again. Uh-oh. Unhandled exception. Cannot read property internal of undefined. I don't like that either. Does that stem from this? So if I run that, like so. The objects exports on create node. And I get rid of that. Why are you so upset now? Cannot read property internal of undefined. Each of limit. Kind of lost now. All right, let's see. Git reset. I guess if I do a git checkout source and an rm source components. So if I remove that, then I should be back in the same state I was in before. And it should build successfully. If it's still breaking like that, then it means it's not my fault, I hope. And I'm not seeing any hints at all from Adam, so I'm not sure. Object exports on create node. So Gatsby Node.js 61. I can do some digging. 61. Go here and internal event. So it's no longer giving me this internal here. Description is equal to node.description node get node internal. So whatever that thing is doing. So what if I were to go comment that thing out and just say it's an empty string for the moment? Can I actually run this thing? Okay, that looks a little bit more promising. So I don't know what changed. If you use default create React app, hours for this project, if you use Gatsby, I don't have an excellent answer for it because I am actually working with Gatsby for the first time. I haven't really spent time with it before, and so this is my intro to Gatsby. So you're seeing me struggle with it because I haven't had to run into all these things before. I think that they both serve different purposes, though. I guess, create React app is definitely nice for creating the Scratch app, and it's often my go-to. But one of Gatsby's major purposes is to be a full-on static site generator, and so all of the React code that you're seeing here is actually getting run by Node and built up by Gatsby, and then serves statically. There is some work that's done, so it does get run within the browser, but I think it depends on use case as well. And Gatsby also has a lot of other things that it can do for you, like being able to create sources that are GraphQL based. Like create React app does not do that for you, and so like this can go and query a source that shouldn't actually be publicly exposed. Like we don't actually want to surface that endpoint directly, but instead just while we're building, we actually go and fetch from that data source, and it's made available through GraphQL, and then we can use it to go and build out our pages. So I don't have a great comparison because, like I said, this is my first interaction with it, but I think, I don't know, the use cases differ just a little bit, and Gatsby gives you more on the static site generator side of it, whereas Create React app is more on the front end app side. You don't get those server side generation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. So GraphQL is not quite like MySQL. It is in that you can write queries against it. GraphQL is also designed to potentially work in the browser as well. It's a different query language that Facebook came up with. So yeah, if you look up GraphQL, then it kind of will go and describe what you're looking for, and the idea behind it, at least one of them, is you can go and you can write an endpoint that exposes GraphQL, or like exposes the ability for a client to write GraphQL against it. So even in a front-end style React application, you could go and hit that endpoint and ask for different things at different times and not have to go back and rewrite the endpoint or make changes to the endpoint every time you wanted to add something new. But instead, you expose parts of your applications as just specific fields that are able to get queried. And then the clients can do kind of what they want in terms of requesting data. And I can definitely see value in it. I've worked with it just a little bit at work, and we happen to have a case there where, hey, somebody followed me. Sweet Sig, cool. I need to find a way to show who recently followed me at a little activity thing, but appreciate the follow. So you can make a different request even based on different platforms. Like that's kind of a nice thing. At work for me, we have a desktop application, a mobile web application, iOS and Android, and viewing things on the different platforms, sometimes they need to show different information, and so they can request it the way that they want to without having to make 4 separate endpoints or one endpoint that gives every possible thing that all 4 of them could want. So that is one nice thing about GraphQL, is it gives you a lot of flexibility, or gives flexibility to the client about what they want to request. And also, if your client happens to be caching things heavily, then it can say, I only need these pieces of this thing. I don't need to actually fetch the entire graph if you already know some information on it. So definitely worth checking out and spending time with. I think Gatsby's choice of using that is kind of cool because it gives kind of a consistent interface to several different types of connectors. Or like you can connect it to several different things and use GraphQL as the common language to talk to them. So you probably could go and hook it up to a MySQL database, and if there's some sort of connector for it, I don't know exactly how to do it, but if you had a database and you wanted to get information out of it, you could hook Gatsby up to it via some sort of GraphQL type link. So hope that helps. Let's see. I at least have a description. I guess this is not working out quite right here. But with that, I think actually I'm going to push up a pull request, or at least that Adam can start looking at, and we can kind of see where we go from there. So I will probably continue this either on another night or something. I actually have to pack up because I need to go camping tomorrow, and I need to pack still. So it's late night for me. So you should be seeing like the lock thing. Appreciate everybody who came to watch, and I expect that I will keep doing this on at least every other Thursday, because I record a podcast that is on this orbit.fm website called Book Bites, and so I do that every other Thursday. So on my off Thursdays, I'll definitely be doing this, and you can either find me here doing a work on the Orbit FM site. That's kind of a first, or tonight was a first on that front. Otherwise, I've been tinkering with Rust and writing some of that to get my bearings on something pretty low level. So I expect that I will keep working on that front too. So with that, I'm gonna call it a night. And I guess if you want to watch some cool indie gaming, then you can go and watch Seriously Clara. She's always up to something good. See ya.